Hi and welcome back to Cheeky Crypto. My name is Nick, and today guys we're going to be jumping down into the world of Vechain, taking a look at the daily time frame and what we think is likely to occur next. Has anything changed from the last time we covered it, or are we still heading and on track for a bit of a move to the downside? As I get into the video, if you find it useful and informative, smash that like button. I really do appreciate that. If you are new to the channel, then why not go ahead and subscribe, tap the bell, select all the notifications, and in doing so you will be kept up to date with everything that we do here at Cheeky Crypto. And if you haven't yet joined us in Discord, guys, check it out, linked in the description down below. It's a fantastic community talking crypto 24/7. It's completely free, and I don't think you'll be disappointed by what you find down there, so why not go ahead and check it out. Let's jump right down into this video. We'll try to keep it nice and brief and to point, just so that you don't waste anyone's time. So we're going to be taking a look at three different charts. We have the smart money concepts, that's the one that you see here, Elliott Wave theory, and then some support resistance things that we need to be aware of as well. Okay, they're all on the daily time frame and paired up with USDT, with Binance being our data source. Okay, let's start with the smart money concepts. So smart money concepts tells us that we have not yet finished with our move to the downside. Okay, we can see down here that we have a weak low and we have a strong high. We're below equilibrium. We're below the 50 and 200 EMAs. Okay, not only do we see these things, but we also see that we are in a bearish structure with current break of structure indicating that we have further to the downside to go. We also have a minor change of character from our main minor bullish move here to a minor bearish move, and that's all feeding inside our bearish bigger macro structure as well. So all in all, it's not looking great for upside on Vechain at the moment. It does look like we have further to the downside to go. So when we take a look at this, we can see what else. Well, we can see that we have a discount range at the moment, so you could essentially accumulate in this range if you want to, but I don't think it's quite where it needs to be just yet. In fact, this yellow box area is more in line with where my thoughts and my expectations are, which is more towards 1.403 and 1.589. Okay, now there is a fair value gap up here. This gap was created from selling pressure taking the price action to the downside. Okay, so we can see that right in there. At some point we will have to visit this, and we'll have to visit equilibrium. I just don't think it's going to happen within the next kind of 1 or 2 weeks. I think it's going to be something that happens much later on, a few months down the line. Now, with that being said, smart money concepts here, if we zoom out, we can see we have never been in a bullish structure yet, okay, from this bear market. It remains very bearish. Even though we've had this significant move to the upside here, it never pushed up high enough to confirm that we are in a bullish structure. Instead, our bearish structure from all the way over here in 2021 is still valid, with break of structures confirming it. And this confirmation over here most recently is basically confirming the same thing. We're basically confirming that our structure remains bearish. Okay, so there's no bullishness really on this daily time frame to be seen from that kind of point of view. So from smart money concepts, unfortunately, it does look like we have further downside here for Vechain's VET token. And we're not talking about V4, we're just talking about VET, VET. On a smart money concepts angle. So yeah, overbought or heading up to overbought on our daily time frame. So not looking positive there. We're overbought on the 8-hour and on the 4-hour. So do expect a little bit of volatility on the smaller time frames, but ultimately it doesn't look great here on the daily. Now on the larger ones, such as the weekly, we're looking okay, but we can be in the oversold area down here for a while yet. So I'm not thinking we're immediately going to see price action bounce to the upside. It will be interesting to kind of see how it plays out over time though. So just to expect a bit of a move to the downside. Once we come down towards 1.589, I would expect a bounce to the upside from there. And it should be reasonably significant. The other thing that's worth noting that this target range down here is an Elliott Wave theory target range, and minimum expectations have already been met, which means we don't have to go all the way to that low point if we don't want to. Let's go over into the Elliott Wave theory side of things, because there are a lot of different targets here for Vechain on Elliott Wave theory side of things. So obviously we had our range that we were just talking about. So let me actually go ahead and just draw this in more accurately on this time frame, on this chart, I should say, because it did change a little bit. So we can see it's right in here. So I'm going to just pull this back in line with what our smart money concepts targets are. Okay, so we can see it right in here, 1.592 and 1.409. I'm pretty certain those are the correct levels on this side. Oh, go to the It says 8.9. So it's a little bit in around that range. Probably not drawing it as accurately on here. So let's see where, yeah, so I see I'm not quite on those high points. I'm just going to pull this down and just going to check that this opening position or the high position here was 2659. So we just need to go down one. There we go. Actually, no, up one. It is on this one here. 60. That's perfect. Okay, cool. So then I can come and just refine this down a little bit. It's actually 8.6 right in here at 8.6. And on the low side, it is on 1.403. Okay, so I'm just going to pull that right there. So essentially 1.586 to 1.403. That is the range that we would look at on this corrective structure right here. It is a wave 1 or a B, and then C in here. The interesting structures that are appearing within these ranges happen to be a wave 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 situation coming down here. And in fact, we haven't finished wave 3 yet. Wave 3 would be a little bit deeper. I think we're in the wave 4 for the for that one. So it goes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. So we're looking for a zigzag essentially. Without kind of overcomplicating it, we can just look at it as a C wave, and it does look like we have to come down in a 5-wave structure. I think we're just looking to finish off the wave 3 of the C wave before we bounce up into a wave 4 and then down into a final 5th wave movement, which will take us into our range right down here at the 1.586 and 1.403. Okay, so that's kind of the structure there for the correction. Now, we're looking for a double zigzag pattern for a Z wave, and the Z wave would actually bring us down lower. It would put us at 0.00405 through to 0.01147. Okay, now we will have to bounce up before we do this. So a zigzag pattern is what you see here, this ABC structure. We would look for a double zigzag. So a zigzag comes down, we'd have a corrective pattern go up, and then we'd have another zigzag come on down. Okay, so that's kind of how we get into this range down here if we are to follow the Z wave. Okay, if we do not follow the Z wave, then we'll look for something different. And of course, you know, all of this is essentially just a B wave in itself anyway. Okay, so we'll look at price appreciation later. So based on everything that we kind of see here, we can see that we're looking to just pull back down, then bounce up, and then pull back down again, going into new lower lows. The last low was December of 2022, and I'm still expecting a little bit further to the downside. Like I said, our structures are still bearish on smart money concepts. They're still bearish on an Elliott wave theory point of view as well. So let's go ahead and talk support resistance, supply demand. And in here, we've got some red areas and some white areas, right? So the red areas are our resistances, and we kind of hit hard and down from these recently. And then the white areas are areas that could have turned into support ranges and can also turn into resistances. Right now, we have turned the 2 cent into resistance. Okay, and that's this one over here. So we can see that this white line comes in all the way over from June 2022. We lost this as a support area. Okay, we come down towards 1.5. We then bounced up above this range. We tested this. It was support for us over here in March this year. We've bounced up and then we've lost it. And we retested it, turning it into resistance. So a drop from here, the next area to focus on is going to be 1.744. Is that area going to hold, or are we going to drop down to this previous low at 1.533, which will basically be in line with our C wave expectations overall? And as you can kind of see here, we have a bigger C wave expectation, taking us down slightly deeper, this one being 1.2 to 1.4. Okay, so we can see that right in there. It would be interesting to see whether or not we get the slightly longer 1.236 extension on our smaller ABC structure here, A, B, and C, which would tap into that 1.403 area, which could tap into this range being a C wave on a slightly bigger scale. And then we can look at a bigger move to the upside. This particular scenario would basically put an end to the idea that we have a Z wave. So it would be more in line if we were to think about this ABC structure actually not going down as deep as that and just finding maybe around 1.5 being your support level, not tapping into or going lower than our 1.533 area. If that's the case, then we'll still end up having to come down in that double zigzag pattern and come into the more typical kind of retracement for that Z wave or Z wave on this larger movement and the Z wave overall. So there's a few things to kind of consider here, but from support and resistance areas, 1.744, that's our next area of support outside of our current kind of lows, which was about 1.852, and then a little bit lower than that, 1.533 is your double bottom scenario. So a few things to kind of be mindful of on Vechain here. Ultimately, we've got a bearish structure. We are tracking zigzag patterns, potentially a double zigzag in play for a Z wave. And also just note that we have got an idea here for maybe a more lenient and less painful C wave structure to kind of avoid going into the Z wave from Elliott wave theory. So there's a couple of different options, some interesting areas to kind of note, areas that we want to be aware of and concerned with, areas that we want to accumulate on, and all that kind of good stuff. So I'm going to leave the video right there. Let me know if you found this useful and informative by smashing that like button, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Are you still looking to accumulate more Vechain? Are you looking at actually, you've got enough now, you're just looking at price appreciation? Let me know what your thoughts are on where you think things are heading here for VET. And if you're new, subscribe, and don't forget to join us down in Discord. I'll catch you all in the next one.
We are not financial advisors. None of what we have communicated verbally or in writing here should be considered as financial advice. It is not. Do your own research before investing in any digital asset or affiliate offers, and understand that investing in any crypto is risky. If you do, you need to be prepared to lose your entire investment. This video is for information and entertainment purposes only. All our videos are strictly personal opinions. Please make sure you do your own research and never take our opinions for financial guidance. There are multiple strategies, and not all strategies fit all people. Our videos are not financial advice.